Greetings, my people. Greetings, my people. Today is October 19th. It's 4:25 p.m. And and from my topic, you see, I said, yay interview, um, control perception, and whatnot. But what I mean by this, hang on, let me adjust my camera. What I mean by this, shout out to the channels that stripped that video down and kept it up for us to look at it. And again, like I always say, I always start this off by telling y'all that I don't have a vested interest in defending nobody. But we must understand to be non-emotional. That don't mean we can't get passionate, but we must be non-emotional about what we feel and how we view things, right? Okay. So in this interview, he says a lot of stuff. And he really proves the point of, like he tells Noriega when, Noriega stops him after the George Floyd um, statement. And he says, will you even be able to run this? Because the Jews shut me down and keep me from speaking. So he right there tells you that, who's controlling. And a question I think that should have been asked when he said they hit him with the fentanyl, meaning George Floyd. I would have asked, who is they? Um, I don't know about that. I'm not gonna get into whether the cop knee was on his neck or not. It shouldn't have been there in the first place, right? We have, so that's the part I don't agree with. Sifting through that of whether the knee was on the neck or not, it shouldn't even been in that position. You get what I'm saying? So moving along, but the control perception, right? For the longest, we've been told that he's crazy, he's crazy, he's crazy. When Kim was getting her divorce, I remember seeing a lot of articles. Kim is worried about Kanye's mental state. Man, I always say you got this whole monstrosity of Bruce Jenner running around pretending to be a woman. Nobody says anything about his mind state because your perception is controlled to say, oh, this is a trans woman. No such thing, right? This is a trans woman that has transformed from a man to a woman. No such thing. But in your controlled perception and in them controlling how we look at things, we are supposed to accept that. We are supposed to accept Dwayne Wade's son as Zaya. We are supposed to say his daughter. So even in that controlled perception, they control how you respond to things, how you even view things that it's not. Right? So he says a lot of things in this interview. Number one, he talks about the Zionists, the Jewish Zionists that controls things. So, and I always say, okay, when we get on people like Charleston White, and I was having a conversation with a good friend today about that, and we was having a good sparring session about this Charleston White situation. And some of my people say they stand for what he believes in or what he stands on or what he says. That's tough for me. But again, I can't be the same thing and say, no, you're going to agree and say this. That's a person's way of thinking. But what I always say is they tell you about people like Charleston White, people like Candace Owens, Jesse Lee Peters, and whoever else. They always just tell you about the sickness of the people, right? They never talk about what's making them sick. But they talk about the cause or the illness, but they never talk about the cause of the illness. So when we get a lot of these things, it's a lot of these perspectives. And like he said, there's a contract out to dislike him. So as I scroll through Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, any social media, you have all these people that are just absolute that Kanye is this, he's the enemy, he's the sworn enemy. Now, in this controlled perception, because this is almost like the devil and God type scenario, right? And if I'm, if I always say, correct me if I'm wrong. But in the Bible, how much damage that they talk about the devil doing versus how much killing they talk about God doing in the Bible, right? So why did I say that? What does that have to do with anything? We normalize R. Kelly, right? We normalize, we rationalize, we make excuses, we find ways to vindicate, exonerate R. Kelly to say, hey, even if we got to disrespect the little girls and we got to say, those little girls wanted that, right? This is how we talk. Well, where were the parents at? No accountability, right? Well, everybody should have got locked up with him. He wasn't the only one. All these rationalization points of a pedophile, right? You can't get around him being married to Aaliyah. Everybody else, Jocelyn Savage, if y'all want to debate that, then that's up to you. But you can't get around him being with 15-year-old Aaliyah. That's all I need. I don't need a plethora of young girls to consider you a pedophile. One is enough. So in this thing of like, well, how many times have Kanye, and if anybody can find it, educate me. How many times have Kanye sit up here and said, free R. Kelly? I don't think what he did was okay, or the girls were this X amount, whatever those list of things. If he said it, I'm not aware. Make me aware, right? So what I'm saying is, it's okay doing it if we like the person. We say, well, the white folks let Elvis Presley did this to Priscilla. Jay-Z did this to, he was with Beyonce. All these things to rationalize this controlled perception. Because we like his music. We grew up on R. Kelly. We like what his music does. He's the Pied Piper, right? But when Kanye tells you about how this industry, this matrix runs, we do this. Because we don't want to hear or see what's being said. Right? And like I said, it's not about, and the only reason I'm doing this because nobody sticks up. Nobody says, at least listen. I don't like Charleston White, but I listen. Because he does say some things I say, I can agree with that. Because that's a symptom of this system. It's kind of like COVID. So when COVID was out, they controlled your perspective. They controlled our outlook. They totally missed when he said about the MAGA hat. Just listen to what I'm saying. I'm not a fan, although I kind of do like that Slum Village song. So I do like some of his music, but I'm not coming to the rescue. I'll put it like that. But nobody heard when he said, I don't see this video floating around in the masses. When he said with the MAGA hat, and he says, my own wife, hold on, let me get my microphone. I'm tripping. I don't even have my microphone. When he says, my own wife tells me that hat is little dick energy, right? Hold on, let me get this adjusted. He says, my own wife tells me that the hat was little dick energy, right? But he says nobody talks about how the Clintons used the Kardashians to push the vaccines to black people. Right? Nobody questioned the adverse effects of this vaccine, right? Because the perception was controlled. It was like, hey, it's good for y'all. Don't question. Just take it. Just take this that we've just started to work on. We don't know really what's going to go on because nobody's an expert on this vaccine. Right? Nobody's an expert because this is the first trial. This is a different one. I had an idiot telling me that inoculation came from Africans. Okay, I'll give you that point. Be that, even if that were so, right? This vaccine was not designed by our ancestors. Am I making sense? So for them to say they used a popular, there was a good book by Myron C. Fagan called "How Hollywood's Brainwashing the People." Very small book. You should get that. And he talked about how they use celebrities to offset boycotts. One of the main ones was Ronald Reagan, right? But we don't understand things because we're so emotional and absolute about things. This controlled perception. You want to control how people perceive. Even some people, they say, "Oh, forget Kanye. I don't want to," and we dismiss it. I just want us to get to a point where we're listening and we're thinking. How many people put that vaccine in their body? And then the CDC comes back almost a month, it was about a month ago, and admitted that they made a mistake. No apology to Kyrie Irving, by the way, who the media also destroyed. They used puppets like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to destroy him. They use people like Stephen A. Smith, who is toxic to the African and Black community, to just get on TV and run him down for exercising his own choice with his body. The same thing we will argue about abortion. It's their body, their choice. But when it comes to this vaccine, you don't have a choice with your body. Think. It's deeper than Kanye. You get idiots like Willie D that say, Kanye fans, this is not about being a fan. This is about listening. I'm not a Donald Trump fan. I'm not a Charleston White fan. But if they say something that resonates, it's correct. The truth shall set you free. And a lot of people are scared to tell the truth. I tell you that. A lot of people are afraid to tell the truth. That's why they shun it. That's why they shut your voice down. That's why they flag your accounts. Because they don't want that out. Look for that video before I get out. Last point. Look for that interview. Whether you feel a way about it or not, whether you agree or not, just listen. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to play music or dance or anything. Just listen. And I leave you in how I greeted you. I'm not going to stay long, like I said. I leave you in the words of a BB 448, African liberation for African people. Peace.